Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising trilogy, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again. Each book is a compilation of features about cruisers and cruise and travel personalities from around the world. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests.
Hello, passionate cruisers. This is Paul. Today, I'm delighted to welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast, the Jenn Danielle, who I could refer to as a social media star, leading solo travel content creator, influencer, brand ambassador, or vlogger. I'll refer to her simply as Jennifer and ask her to share her insight into a topic of immense curiosity to passionate cruisers like our listeners. Critically acclaimed, rapidly growing, and yet a mystery to most cruisers, cruising on Virgin Voyages. In the 3 books comprising the Joy of Cruising trilogy, I've had little content regarding Virgin Voyages. When the first book, The Joy of Cruising, was published early 2019, cruisers hadn't heard of the line yet. The new release, The Joy of Cruising Again, was started when the cruise world was in a state of suspended animation. Although I said this in the introductory section, I'm intrigued by Virgin Voyages. The upstart cruise line jettisoned 2 cruising institutions, buffets, and wait for it, kids. Now, I got into travel at all-inclusive resorts where buffets were the entry drug that led me to try cruising. At first, I was put off by the prospect of no buffets. But after COVID-19, buffets are no longer as significant a part of the cruise experience for me. Virgin's no kids policy also gave me pause. Before the pandemic, I almost always cruised with my granddaughter. And as a young adult, I grew up in cruising by taking my young daughters with me. So it's definitely a new passenger experience for me. Later in the Joy of Cruising Again, after cruising had restarted, I featured UK cruise writer legend Dave Monk of Shipmonk, whose photo at the naming of Scarlet Lady showing Richard Branson dancing on the table to Rihanna was front page in the UK. By the way, Shipmonk will be my guest on the Joy of Cruising podcast in August. Now, Virgin Voyages, whose Scarlet Lady was named Best New Cruise Ship in 2021 at the Cruise Critic Awards, has just dominated the ocean cruising category of the 2022 Cruise Critics Editors' Picks Awards, winning for Best Dining, Best Nightlife, and Best for LGBQT Travelers. My wife and I are booked on Scarlet Lady. Interest in the unique cruise line is sky high, and there's no one better to share her perspective on Virgin Voyages than the Jenn Danielle. Jennifer, welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
So how you doing?
I am doing great. It's a lovely day here in Atlanta, Georgia. The sun is out for once, so I'm happy about it. Nothing like being on a cruise, though. Definitely would rather be there.
Tell me about it. We just got off a cruise a couple of weeks ago. We'll actually be in down your way in a couple of days, coming to a nephew's graduation.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Yep. So before we get into Virgin Voyages, tell our listeners about yourself. Where you from? Where do you live? Well, you just said Atlanta. How do you spend your time when you are not on a cruise or not being the Jenn Danielle brand?
Well, I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee. So Memphis born and raised. I currently live in Atlanta. I've been here about 6 years and I love it here. I venture actually a lot between Memphis and Atlanta because my entire family is in Memphis. So I spend a lot of time there when I'm not being the Jenn Danielle brand. But the brand is very close to my real life, which I'm very proud of, but it does get a little tedious at times with, what I share and what I don't share. But, cruising is life, travel is life. But that's the majority of what I do is, go back and forth, visit family, spend time relaxing. I'm really big in this time on just finding any way of happiness. And so, I
Mm-hmm.
try to live loosely when it comes to itineraries and, just take things as they go because I tend to be very hands-on with a lot of things. So
Well, we at the Joe Cruising Podcast are certainly happy to now be a part of the Jenn Danielle brand. How did the Jenn Danielle brand originate, and then how is it going?
Well, it's so funny. So I've always been based in education. And so when I started on social media, I've really loved like the background of doing the research and building a social media following. So I started off really teaching like financial freedom. And so I would learn how to do stocks and like trade stocks, buy stocks, and do things in like that financial space. So I kind of started there with building my social media following, which it didn't really like take off until I got to cruising. And it was 100% an accident for this to become like so much of my life. And I really started cruising just as a way to really reinvent myself. And so I
Mm-hmm.
first got the idea of taking a solo cruise, ironically, February of 2020. And so we know what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I took 2 cruises before and really enjoyed them, but went with some people that made it a little less enjoyable. And I just said, it's so many things I wish I would have done. And so, I kind of started there, took my first solo cruise Thanksgiving of 2021 and started sharing, what I did on social media, did my first YouTube recording really for myself. It's
Mm-hmm.
just an opportunity to track what I did and it kind of evolved into this thing. And so I like I said, I'm usually very hands-on, very methodical about everything, but this brand kind of leads me where it wants to. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely been an amazing journey for me to be a year and a half in and to have people like you reach out. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm so nervous.
Well, we share a little bit in common because I used to be a finance professor at the college level, so
Oh
we could
wow,
we
okay.
could we could probably have a chat
Oh
offline.
yeah,
But like you, cruising is now my
yeah.
life. So first, say something about your affinity for and connection with Virgin Voyages.
So it's so funny that I have become kind of like synonymous with Virgin Voyages because I am a carnival girl at heart. I hope Carnival hears this. And so I don't really have an affinity to one cruise line per se. But I will say I did work directly with Virgin Voyages January of this year, just to come out and share the solo perspective of being on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was something where I reached out to them and I said, hey, I think this is an area that you guys, are missing that could be a great opportunity. I would love to come out and just share my experience and provide content to show people, what it's like to be a solo traveler on your cruise line. And it really, really has performed better than anything I could have ever imagined. And Virgin Voyages has been such a different line for me, just because you have to go into it with the mindset of it's not like any other cruise line.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So there's as I mentioned in the intro, there's an immense amount of curiosity about Virgin Voyages. They've uh, entertained thousands of cruises, but the vast majority of cruisers have never done Virgin Voyages, but they're hearing good things, especially the way Virgin Voyages dominated at the recent Cruise Critics Awards. So what can we expect from Virgin Voyages?
So the biggest thing is go in with no expectations. That's what I advise people to do because if you go in thinking this is going to be like any other cruise line you've been on, you're going to be so disappointed and really kind of confused. And so I really am big on watching YouTube bloggers. I know that there weren't as many the first time I cruised with Virgin because I've been on twice. But now people have shared their experiences all over the place. But what you really can expect is just the unexpected, different styles of shows from what you're used to on a regular cruise. The all adult piece is amazing. It's definitely it makes it for a different experience, and it's really a great opportunity to step outside of your norm and try something new.
So you've been on other lines. Contrast what Virgin does with what a lot of cruises are used to on other lines.
So the biggest thing is going to be that it's adults only. And I feel like I have to preface this now because I get this question so much. It's adults only in that there are no children. There have been some strange questions I've received about what that means. And that is the biggest difference of what adults only means. You don't have buffets, which I think is very interesting, but I think like given the recent changes, I feel like that's a great thing that you don't have buffets on the cruise line. You'll also have no announcements. So that's the biggest thing I like to tell people, because I think that's something that people can make mistakes with when it comes to cruising on Virgin. Is it's not going to be like some of the other cruise lines where you hear your cruise director pop in the morning and welcome you and sing a song. I've seen some very interesting, welcomings when you pull the port. There are no announcements. It's like an opportunity for it to be your cruise. It's adults. It's very technology heavy, and I am a technology person, so I absolutely love that about it. You're going to get a text message when you get to port instead of getting an announcement from a cruise director. And the last thing is there are no cruise directors. They have what's called a happenings cast. So you have a group of people that are there to make your experience exciting, and they lead the individual events. They lead like your sail away party. And so you have a group of people that you can meet with versus one cruise director.
I can imagine some of the questions you must get, because I think early on, and perhaps even still, some people equated adults only with risque.
Yes, that's the nice way of putting it. Absolutely. I see some strange stuff.
Now I know this is a little tiny detail, but I'm like you. I'm a techie, and I'm excited about my upcoming cruise on Virgin. So, is that device in the room? Is that actually an iPad, or is that something of theirs that they've customized?
So it's more. I think it's an Android led
Okay,
tablet.
okay.
But it is like it's very functional and easy to work like an iPad. I am an Apple person, so so I will say it's not an iPad, but it is like, everything is like right there for you to touch. So I definitely enjoy that. Love that you can control the lights and everything from your curtains and the temperature of the room from that tablet. So you really could never leave the bed if you don't want to.
So, well, be specific. Take us through your experience cruising on Virgin.
So I've had two experiences. The first one, I did a girls' trip with some girls I met through social media, and we took a trip together, and it was an excellent time. And that was really what kind of led me to say, I have to try this solo, because I love having the opportunity to meet people and travel with people, but it's a totally different experience when you travel alone. And so the latest experience I had this year was in January. So after the holidays, it wasn't, a full to capacity sailing, which I'm hearing that they're getting a lot more of now. And it was just unplanned. It was very much like luxury. So what I like to do for my cruises is I'm the person that wants to plan experiences. And so that's, hence the name of my YouTube. Like, I like to say, okay, I know that they have this background. I want to dress like this. I want to take photos like this. And I really want to challenge myself to do things that I don't normally do. So with this last experience, I went to the spa and just spent an hour, and I think about 2 hours in their spa. They do 3-hour passes, and just got like a mud like facial and just something I would never do anywhere else. So it's definitely an opportunity for great experiences.
So take us to the beginning. So you walk on. I understand there's some differences. Kind of be our travel agent, or do a travel log for us. Walk us through your solo cruise.
Yeah, so the actually like embarkation process is similar to what you would experience with any other ship. You go in your app, you start to use your app from the beginning. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you've already registered everything in your app, you're able to just scan your phone, get your wristband, so there aren't lanyards. That's another difference that you will see there versus other cruises. You get a cloth wood band wristband that has all of your access for scanning for your drinks, for your room access, everything. And so once you get that, you get on board. The biggest thing to note is you probably want to sign into that app, switch over your internet as soon as possible, because all of your food reservations are going to be done through that app. So usually that's the first thing I would do. Yeah, at this point, being an experienced Virgin traveler is once you get on the ship, open your app, arrange for the things you want to book. Because some you can only book once you're on the ship. And another thing that's great is that your cabins are ready as soon as you get on the ship. I don't know how you feel about that, Paul, but that's a big one for me. I love being able to get on the ship and drop my stuff off.
Well, I'm excited already. Now they give you, well, not give you, I guess, included in the fare is internet, right?
Correct.
So,
Yep.
so as a social media star, is the internet adequate for your needs?
Well, I wouldn't say a star now. Thank you. But
Stop being humble, because I'll start reading off your following, and it's pretty significant.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. So I always upgrade. So I have never tried to use the basic Wi-Fi that comes with version ship. The I want to say it's like $10 a day or something like that to extend it to their extended Wi-Fi. And that has been sufficient for me.
Okay.
But that's only because I FaceTime my family. As a solo traveler, I check in with my family every day. And so I want them to physically be able to see me and know, yes, I'm fine. And sometimes I like to show them around the ship, make them a little jealous. So
So, all right, then you go into your room. You said it's ready when you board.
Yep. And so on Carnival, my standard process is to, after I check in, go to Guy's Burgers. That's like that's like the first stop for me. But on Virgin,
that's the second thing we have in common.
okay, look, we're 2 for 2. We're 2 for 2. And so so my next stop typically is to go to the Dock House. And so that's kind of their forward-facing, I wouldn't say it's like a full restaurant, but it is probably more like a lounge bar type area. But it is outdoors. And so, I would just relax and eat there. But I will say, comparing Virgin to other cruises, I feel like it's a lot more laid back in that my first stop isn't Lido like it is on Carnival. Carnival, it's like go to the Lido deck, go to Guys and everything. But on Virgin, it's kind of like find an area where no one is and just kind of lounge and take it in for a moment.
And right now it's probably a good time to clarify for those who haven't cruised Virgin. I know most people know this, but not all. Virgin has no main dining rooms, right?
That's right. No main dining rooms. And so they're individual restaurants. There are over 20 restaurants that are available to eat. Most of them, probably maybe 10 out of the 20, are lumped into what they call the galley, which is kind of like almost a food hall. But you sit at the table and they bring the food to you. So you can order whatever you want, as much as you want. No judgment, because believe me, I have maxed it out a couple times. But you can order whatever you want from those various restaurants and they bring it to you. And so in addition to that, they have 6 specialty restaurants where you actually would make like your reservations and go in and, they bring it to you like a regular dining.
So that galley, I don't know about in Atlanta, but in Charlotte, which is near where I live, food halls are kind of a big deal now.
They are, yeah. I've
And I
noticed that
like
in Atlanta
I
also.
okay, I like that concept. So
Yeah.
the galley is a food hall, except you sit down and
Right.
someone serves you.
Right. And of course, since it's included, you're not paying for individual meals from each restaurant like you would in a regular food hall, which is great. So it's just you sit down, you have this huge menu, and each thing, like say a taco burger joint, there's a ramen spot. You would order whatever you want from those individual places, and they'll bring it to you.
Uh-huh. So what are some of your favorites in the galley?
In the galley, the breakfast is really good. They have like a waffle that's on, I want to say it's a burger in between it. There is Diner and Dash, which is a 24-hour breakfast spot. I am such a breakfast person. And
Mm-hmm.
if I could have breakfast versus pizza through the night, I love that. So I think that that's a really big highlight is being
Mm-hmm.
able to get an omelet made at say 2, 3 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
bacon, like all the works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about specialty restaurants? Pick a couple of your favorites.
Favorites. So the most interesting I'll say is Gunbay, which is their Korean barbecue. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first time, really the only time I've ever had Korean barbecue is on Virgin Voyages. And as a solo traveler, I think that that could be one of the most awkward dining experiences, just because you do have to sit with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're cooking it there on the grill in front of you. So it's a good opportunity to make some friends, but it could be one that's a little challenging, depending on your communication level.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as other restaurants, another one of my favorites is the Wake for brunch. So I have to
Mm-hmm.
specialize. So the Wake is their steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that their brunch is like a million times better than the dinner there. Not saying that the
Mm-hmm.
dinner is bad. It's just, it's not, you can't compare it to the brunch. The brunch is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard a lot of things about the test kitchen. Did you get a chance to experience that?
I did. So I did do that my first trip, and I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not for picky eaters. Some of the stuff looks a little strange, but
Mm-hmm.
everything had like a really unique taste. And like one of the things I had was it was a steak where they like melted chocolate on top of it. And so I love like the presentation of everything. And it's something that it could be different. It's more of like an acquired taste, but if you can be open to it, I think it's a great experience.
Mm-hmm. For the listeners, those of you who have not tried Virgin, but have tried Royal Caribbean, the test kitchen sounds to me a little bit like Wonderland.
Okay.
So, have you been to Wonderland on the Royal
I
ship?
haven't. So I've only done Royal Caribbean once so
Okay,
far. So,
okay.
so yeah, I need to get to one of those type of places there.
Yeah, they have a specialty restaurant called Wonderland, and they claim to have a menu, but really they bring you whatever they want to bring you, and
Exactly.
it's all pretty experimental looking, but there
Mhm.
wasn't one thing I had that I did not like.
Okay. Yeah. And I can say the same thing for the test kitchen too.
Hmm. So other than food, talk about activities and how'd you spend your day?
So I spent most days, I am very much a relaxed cruiser. I know a lot of people love, the daily activities back to back. But one of the things that I did have an opportunity to do was take a shot for shot class. And that was one of my favorite, I think, experiences I've had on a ship. And what they do is they teach you how to make 5 different cocktails. So you like sit at a bar with people that you either do or don't know. And they bring you the ingredients to make each individual cocktail. And so the second part of the shot, so it's like taking shots, and then the second part is the photography piece. And so they have someone there that teaches you how to get great photos of your drinks. And so it was really cool seeing people from all ages who probably had children that could have taught them how to do this,
Hmm.
how to use their iPhone to take like great photos, but they're learning and, they're excited. So it was really great to like see the setups that they had because they laid out some different like backdrops for you to take photos of your beverages.
Now, did you then drink them all?
Of course. Of course you drank them.
I don't know that I would have made it through that class.
It's
I
not
I
that bad. It's like margarita. They taught you how to make bourbon, which I enjoy bourbon, and I never knew how you made it. So they teach you how to make like an old fashioned. They teach you how to make, what else was it? I can't even remember the other one, but one of them was like a mocktail, and I was like, "Oh, now they could have kept that one."
I went on a cruise with my daughters and my son-in-law, and we went to the casino. It was a Royal Caribbean cruise. The casino was having a happy hour. What's the drink with the champagne and the orange juice?
Oh, mimosa.
Mimosa
Yeah.
happy hour. So we went to that, and that was planned. But then we saw that there was a brandy tasting,
Ooh.
which was unplanned. We
Mhm.
went to the bourbon tasting, and they brought you six bourbons, including one creamy vanilla bourbon. And when we left there, we were tore up.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's how you leave a tasting.
so what other neat things did you do?
So I did participate in karaoke, which was fun. So they had karaoke at night, and one of the things I really love is that they have individual karaoke rooms. So that is one of the reasons why I really wanted to go back with a group, was to experience those rooms. So you can rent them out for like an hour and go in there and have like a private
Hmm.
karaoke session, singing as much as you want to. So probably combine that with that shot class and you have a good time.
So I mentioned in the intro that you specialize in solo travel. What are the unique aspects of Virgin that makes it a worthy choice for the solo traveler?
I think the biggest thing is just the opportunity to try something different. I think because you're on version, it's appears to be more of an open community, I feel like you have a different range of people, so you don't have as many families. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but it brings out a different group of people when you're on an all adult cruise.
Hmm.
And so I think that that's been the biggest opportunity when it comes to version, is just since everything operates so differently, and a lot of times people are trying to figure out the inner workings of how this cruise works compared to others. I think it's really a good opportunity to go outside of your comfort zone
Hmm.
as a solo traveler.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Virgin have some incentives for the solo traveler that maybe some other cruise lines don't have?
I don't know about if they don't have. I know that they do have solo insider cabins. And I think they have maybe the window cabins for solo travelers. And to help with those costs, because we all know about the double occupancy, which is like the dirty word that no one wants to say when it comes to solo cruising.
So a solo traveler on Virgin doesn't have to pay double occupancy.
If they book one of those solo cabins. No.
Interiors,
Right.
okay. Yeah, that's a nice
It
touch.
is.
I haven't cruised solo, but when I read about solo travelers, that is a major impediment, having to pay,
Absolutely.
double occupancy. So what were some of the differences between when you traveled solo and then you traveled with your friends? I assume they are similar to you. They're influencers and content creators and.
Yep, yep. So yeah, everyone for the most part was a content creator on that first group. And I'll say for me, like the thing is, I love to be on my own schedule. I am so much not a planner when it comes to cruising. Like
Mhm,
I may
mhm.
sleep all day, I may not. So sometimes I just want to lay out on my balcony. And so I'll say the biggest difference was just having that option to do things on my own time.
Did you find that the group forced you out of your comfort zone as a solo traveler? Did you do things that you wouldn't otherwise have done?
I'd say yes. So it definitely did. They definitely tried to get me to do parasailing. It didn't work, but I at least thought about it.
They tried, but that's
They
about as
tried.
far as they got.
Oh yeah.
So what about onboard activities? What are there some things that groups do that you kind of went along with that you wouldn't do otherwise?
Um, as far as what we did as a group, I think we all are kind of foodies, so we enjoyed the meals together. One of the things they have at oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't think of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. The Mexican restaurant on board, they have a drink.
Oh, pink
Pink
agave.
agave. Yeah, I can't believe I can't think of it because that was one of my favorites. They have a drink with crickets in it. And so probably if I were by myself, I may do it for video footage, but definitely doing that as a group was a good time.
Well, I saw you and I said, no, she's not going to eat that cricket, and you sure did.
I did. Just one though. Just one. I've been chirping ever since.
So we are booked for our first Virgin cruise. It's also going to be another first for us, our first transatlantic cruise.
Oh
Uh,
wow, how exciting.
yeah. Exciting, except that it starts with 8 sea days. So,
Okay.
so that's going to be a challenge. Although we're kind of ready because the one we just got off of, it was a cruise from Hawaii to Alaska, and it had in the middle, it had 6 sea days.
Oh wow.
So I probably gained about 6 pounds during those sea days. So I'm a little worried about that with Virgin because I hear so much about the food, and I'm trying everything.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely. You need that amount of time.
yep. So that's in April 24. Do you have any upcoming cruises booked on Virgin?
So I'm actually hosting my very first group cruise Thanksgiving. So it's going to leave November 19th. So that is my next cruise on Virgin as of now. And I am so excited to get to, experience some of the things I did by myself with some of my audience. And I'm really excited because Thanksgiving is really what kicked off cruising for me. So it's almost like it'll be a 2-year kind of celebration for me. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you what projects are you working on right now. So that sounds like about as major of a project as you can do.
Oh, absolutely.
How's it going? Sign-ups are starting,
They
and
are. They are. And I'll be honest, I originally thought that maybe 5 people, maybe 10, but we're up to at least 30 now. So,
uh-huh.
and most of them are solo travelers. So I'm really excited to cruise with this group because they're people that have never cruised before. So I feel like their experience cruising on Virgin is going to be a little different, but it may spoil them for other cruises.
So is solo travel the theme of the cruise, or it just happens to work out that way that most are solo travelers?
I think it happened to work out that way. It's actually it's a lot more people coming in groups, friend groups than I expected. I do have a couple of couples, but it definitely worked out that way. I think because of my content and what I talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because my biggest thing is I want people to not feel that just because they don't have anyone to travel with, that they should stay home or they shouldn't experience the best that life has to offer. And so I think it has just kind of, led into that. But
So, if we have listeners who want to read more about your cruise, what are some details? Where can we? In fact, why don't you talk about how can we follow the Jen Danielle experience on the internet and social media?
yeah, so I live on Instagram. Instagram is like my favorite place to be, but you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Jenn Danielle. So that's Jen with 2 N, so JENN. And on YouTube, I am the Jenn Danielle Experience, and all of the information
Hmm.
for my group cruise or anything else that I have going on is going to be available there on that page.
Well, I hope that with this episode, we'll get you an attendee or two.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I would love to.
So let's talk a little bit about the future. Do you have any travel booked other than Virgin?
So I am actually going on Melanin at Sea's next cruise, which will be probably about a month from when this episode airs. So I am so looking forward to that with alumni, Rich and Jazzy, who has been on the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. I met them last Thanksgiving on the Carnival celebration. So I'm looking forward to connecting with them on their group cruise on the Carnival Venetia, if I'm saying that correctly, this summer. And so I'm going to be doing that. And I'm also booked for the inaugural Icon of the Sea. So I am going to try all of the Royal Caribbean things that everyone has been telling me I should try.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned Melanin at Sea. I'm such a proponent of Melanin at Sea
Oh, me
and
too.
A Rich and Jazzy Life. In fact, in my new release book, The Joy of Cruising Again, I do a feature on Rich and Jasmine.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah. Great
Yeah,
people who have
yeah.
really done an awesome job pushing everything forward. I always tell people any chance I get, they are in that group are the main reasons why I built up the courage to solo travel, to have a place to turn to connect with other travelers. It's just been phenomenal.
Well, that's great. When I reach out to different places on social media to talk about your upcoming episode on the Joy of Cruising podcast, I'll make sure to loop Melanin at Sea
Hmm.
into that. As a matter of fact, Rich and Jasmine were on the show 2 weeks ago,
Yep, yep.
and
I listened
their
to a
their
great episode.
episode. Oh, okay, thanks. Their episode is just as they say, killing it. So that was wonderful. What's on your thinking longer term? What's on your bucket list? And that can be travel or life in general.
So as far as travel, it's funny. The only place I didn't grow up traveling. So traveling is very new to me. And I think that's why being in this space and being seen as you say a social media star has been such a strange transition for me because this just started. And my
Mm-hmm.
dream location was the Dominican Republic. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe I saw pictures once and I was like, that place is beautiful. I would love to go. And so when I had an opportunity on my first solo cruise, that's been, one of my favorite moments of cruising. And so
Mm-hmm.
looking forward now, I'm trying to pick new places I would want to go. I prefer cruising over any mode of transportation just because I don't have to spend a lot of time places. I want to see and experience as many places as possible to maybe go back in the future. So at the top of my
Mm-hmm.
list is Santorini, Greece. I want to do the dress photo shoot and everything. I hope, fingers crossed, it will be with Virgin, since they have their newest ship that goes there. But I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see Greece, and that is really the only place on my bucket list for now. We'll have another one soon, hopefully.
We did a bucket list cruise in the fall to the Mediterranean, but we missed Greece. This one went
Okay.
to Italy, France, and Spain. But I definitely
Ooh.
have Greece on my bucket list. So before we let you go, Jennifer, a couple of what I like to think of as light or fun cruise questions, and then perhaps an oddball question.
Okay.
So the first question, and this is really so I can get some ideas. As I said, I just came back from a cruise, and I can't tell you how many drinks. I had the drink package, of course, and I can't tell you how many drinks I tried because of responses I've received to this question. So, what's your favorite cruise
Yeah.
drink, cruise food, or both?
Okay. I'll tell you, you're gonna be disappointed in me, Paul, because when it comes down to drinks, I never know names. I don't know when this started, but it's been me forever. I'm always like, give me whatever is blue. So and they like the bartenders, a lot of times they figure me out and they laugh because they're like, that's the blue girl. Because I'm like, give me whatever you can make that's blue. So I have no idea what I drink or what I like. But if I had to go with a standard, I would say a pina colada. And that's probably because that's the most basic of cruise drinks and the drink that everyone kind of
Hmm.
knows. So that would have to be my drink. As far as food, I believe Fahrenheit 555 has the best steak in cruising. I would love for a cruise line to prove me different. I have never had a bad steak from Fahrenheit 555 on Carnival Cruise Lines ever, and no other
Hmm.
place has
Hmm.
ever touched it. I mean, not chops, not any of them. So, that
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
my all-time favorite. But of course, guys is a close second.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I know the only blue drink I know the name of, I think it's called Blue Curacao. Um,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and then as far as your pina colada passion, try a Miami Vice. Are you familiar with
Okay.
that?
I've heard it. Yep, I've heard of it.
It It's a pina colada blended with strawberry daiquiri.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. I will have to try that suggestion next.
And then one other one, try a BBC, which is a pina colada blended with banana.
Look, Paul, you come to me for recommendations. You seem to know them all. I need to come to you. Write me a
That
list.
that that's because I get them once a week from guests. So
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I have to go back into your episodes and definitely write those down.
the next question. So, what's your most memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
I would say I'm not going to go to funny or embarrassing route. I don't know if I've had anything that was like really funny or embarrassing happen. Maybe it was embarrassing and I didn't know it. But
Maybe you did have something like that happen, but you're not going to tell us.
no, I didn't. I did. But memorable would be going to the Dominican Republic, just because that was a place I always dreamt of seeing, and a place I thought I would never really get to see. But I did my
Mm-hmm.
first solo excursion there and went to Monkeyland. And so having the little
Mm-hmm.
monkeys like run and sit on your shoulder, it was really a special moment for me. And I was happy that I was able to capture it, because it turned out to be one of the moments that my grandmother really loved, and it really turned her on to watching my YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Finally, Jennifer, I know that you have a huge following. I mean, a huge following. And welcome to the Jenn Danielle fans who are listening. Share one thing that my listeners and your fans don't know about Jennifer.
Ooh. If I had to pick one thing, it would just be that I am actually, contrary to what the videos appear to be, I am very introverted, and I'm a person that is very scary. You know, a lot of times women reach out to me and they say, I don't know how I could build the confidence to travel by myself. I don't know how you would do that. How do I stay safe? And for me, I just believe in challenging myself to find happiness. And that's really what cruising has been for me. And that's why I love the
Mm-hmm.
title of this podcast. And when you reached out to me, I was like, I absolutely have to do it, because it's helped me to find so much joy and helped me to really create opportunities to be different than what I thought I was. I always thought I was a person that was very
Mm-hmm.
strange and different, and that people wouldn't want to talk to. But I've found that the biggest thing that I've gained from this whole experience and from cruising is finding a tribe of people that, want the same thing, who enjoy doing the things that I enjoy doing, and who are okay with talking about cruising 24/7. And that's what I would challenge anyone
Mm-hmm.
that feels like an outsider, feels different. You just have to find your tribe. There are people out here all over the place that enjoy what you enjoy. And sometimes when you're in your immediate circle, you don't realize that you have those opportunities, and you don't realize that there's anybody on this planet like you. But there are so many people here, and there are so many people that, enjoy what you enjoy. So I think that's the biggest thing that people don't know about
Mm-hmm.
me, is that I appear to be, this person that's just so bubbly and outgoing, but I have the same fears as you all. It's just that I found something that the happiness outweighs my fears.
Jennifer, I love that answer because, like you, I mean, I am an off the chart introvert. But when I was writing
Hmm.
the three cruise books, and now doing this podcast, talking to passionate people like yourself, I light up. I mean, I am in my glory. I hide behind a keyboard. Unlike you, I can't get in front of the camera, but I see myself doing something like this behind the camera for the rest of, as long as I can cruise, which I hope is a long, long time.
And I love that. That is excellent. You do such great work. And I just thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you. And I have really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on the Joy of Cruising podcast. Continued all the best to the Jenn Danielle. You know, I consider you a social media leader in the cruising space. And so I am pretty
Thank
confident
you.
if you will come on, that we will have you on again, maybe after your group cruise, so we can talk some more about Virgin Voyages, because that's still going to be before my cruise in 24.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right, Jennifer, take care of yourself. As they say, we'll see you on the ocean.
I love it. Thank you.
Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted can be ordered at the link on the joyofcruisingpodcast.com, each for $16.99 plus shipping. Order the soon to be released The Joy of Cruising again, also at the joyofcruisingpodcast.com for $18.99. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. Again, the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast. Enter to win a copy of The Joy of Cruising or Cruising Interrupted while supplies last at thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group, or both, to increase your chances to win. A winner will be announced in each show. Please leave us a review and tell a friend about us. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed the brief escape to the ocean. See you next week. Exciting news, passionate cruisers. The Joy of Cruising Again book was just released. Order the ebook at your favorite online retailer. The paperback can be ordered by copying the web address listed at the podcast website, www.thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. Don't forget to use the coupon code Joy of Cruising Podcast to get $4 off. We think you'll enjoy the new book as much as Paul enjoyed writing it, and we would love to hear your comments at the Joy of Cruising Again Facebook page or at the Joy of Cruising Instagram page. Thank you.